Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. You had a long video yesterday, so today you get a short one. I was hoping to get a few things done in the garden, like clearing up the huge pile of bamboo I've generated by cutting some of it down. I did film that, and that is destined to go on the gardening channel, but we haven't caught up to like, you know, the story hasn't caught up yet, but it'll go on the gardening channel eventually. Still got some more to do. But new bloom. Now this is my only Aerangis left. I think the other two went to Sean. Whether they got there in time for him to save them or not, I don't know, but they were really going downhill here. This one, however, is hanging in there. It's the one with the long name. I'll do a pop-up. And it's currently got 3 flower spikes with a couple of buds on each one, and there's 1 bloom open on each spike. But this was the only one I could get in a position where I could set the tripod up and do a close-up. There is a problem with small blooms. It's difficult to film them. The only way I can do a close-up on this bloom is literally with the camera on the tripod, and I mean what I've done is I've hooked the mount onto the curtain that I use, you know, as a backdrop, and that holds both of them still. It's the only way I can get close enough to get a good shot. This is unusual. As Aerangis blooms go, there are very, very, very few that have any form of what you'd call colour on them. Most are white. You get creamy white, you get yellowish white, you get straw colour, you get greenish white, but the basic principle is they're white. They're night fragrant, pollinated by moths. They don't need colours, they serve no purpose. But this one has this bright orangey red centre to it, and it's the only one I've ever come across that has any colour on it. It's the only reason it's still with me, quite honestly, because being this small, if it was just white, I wouldn't appreciate it that much. But you know, it's delicately attractive. You know, it's just a nice bloom. Now the plant itself, what's the easiest thing to do? I'll just pull the tripod back a bit so that we can see the plant. There we go. Are you going to focus? Of course you are. So the plant itself is not, it's okay. I won't say it's growing well, because it's not. And at the moment it has a couple of new plantlets forming. It's also pushed a few roots out. In fact, let me just take this off the tripod. There'll be a bit of wobbling around because this tripod works differently. It's not a catch, it's a screw fitting. So, right, I'll get it on my hand, then we can move around the plant. Right, so new plantlet there coming on. Got new root tips growing, and another couple of plantlets starting in the middle. This and down here. So the plant is sort of growing, but it ought to be doing better, and the spikes have all blasted the tips. So that spike we were looking at there on the right of the shot now has only got one other bud that may open. The rest of the spike blasted. And then this one down here has only got a couple, as has the other one. So it hasn't got the sort of strength to, you know, do 3 spikes and keep all the buds going. And these are not good spikes. These spikes should have like 7 or 8 blooms on and arch over downwards, and they're not. So the plant's not healthy, and I think it's another candidate for coming off the mount and either going back on the mount with some new moss or possibly trying it in a pot. But we shall see. But I'll wait for the blooms to finish, and then we'll do something with this, because I don't want to lose this. It's a nice little plant, and it should be growing better than it is. It's actually several plants, it's not a plant, but that's how I got it, was several plants sort of clustered together. Probably a small handful out of a flask at some point in its distant past. And again, the leaves are not they're not as healthy looking as they ought to. They've got a palish colour to them in places. Yeah, so we need to do something with it if we're going to keep it long term. But I just thought I'd show you the, we always do new blooms when we get them, so that's what we've done. And now I'm waiting for the man from the garage to phone back about my car, because the electronics on the driver's door arm, which operate the 4 windows, the 2 folding mirrors, and the joystick to adjust the mirrors, and the door lock. And none of them are working, and it's not the fuse, I've checked it. Looking on the internet, there seems to be a problem sometimes with the loom that goes between the car and the door itself, because obviously the door's got to open and close, so that's got to be a flexible, set of wires sort of thing. And sometimes you get a break in a wire in that area, but it's something that hopefully the guy in the garage can find very quickly with the diagnostic tool. If he plugs that in, it should say there's a fault there, and then hopefully he can fix it at some point. It's not desperate at the moment. I don't need the car that much, and when I need the car, I don't need to move the mirrors and open and shut the windows. I've got air conditioning, but I would be worried about going somewhere quite public and leaving the car unlocked. It's safe where it is behind the security gates, but if I have to go out and leave the car anywhere, I wouldn't be that happy about it not being locked. Anyway, I'm waiting for him to ring back at the moment, and then hopefully we can get that sorted relatively quick. Right, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. And geese going over. Noisy things. They're flying around at the moment in family groups flocked together. So as many as sort of 25, 30 go over all at once. Luckily they don't fly at night. We have had owls around here again recently. Tawny owls calling. They're not that close, so they're not in my garden as such, but they're not too far away. I can hear them at night, obviously. Anyway, see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.